No two law firms are alike. Every law firm has its own practice procedures, its own policies, its own unique branding, and of course, depending on your disposition as a lawyer, you generally have clients, just like you would in the business world, that follow your lead. For example, I personally pride myself on being reasonable, and not in a legal sense, although that, of course, is generally part of what we encourage. I believe that I'm reasonable in that I'm not after somebody venomously. I don't pride myself on making a federal case out of something simple. I like resolutions that are fair and honest and upfront. We prefer settlements. We genuinely believe that the nicer you are to your co parent, even if they are almost ungovernable to you, we believe that it is best to always reach out that olive branch. Because as a co parent, the big loser in all of this is not going to be you, it is going to be your kids if you cannot somehow find a bridge to tomorrow with the other parent. It is of the utmost importance that you find a way to break through all of that drama, all of that resentment if it exists, and find a way that you can get along to go along. Because that will increase your time sharing. That will make the transition for your kids smoother during pickups and drop offs. That will make holiday times less hostile and help your kids develop in a safe and nurturing environment. To that effect, for the next few minutes, I wanted to go over uncontested divorces. I continue to be surprised when we encounter opposing counsel, the lawyer on the other side, their methodologies for uncontested divorces. It seems to me that the general disposition of the attorneys we've gone against over the past several years is file first and ask questions later. When we do an uncontested divorce at Jacob's law firm, our policy is a little different. Our policy is, let's see if we can have a full and total agreement where everything is signed, sealed, and delivered before we file the case. File a case once both parties are in agreement on parenting, financial settlements, child support, and any other issues that have to be resolved within the context of the divorce. We want 100% total agreement. Not that you love any settlement agreement in a divorce, or, oh yeah, I really won that issue in an uncontested divorce, really slammed them in that one. That's not really the point. The point is that you both walk away, mom, dad, or husband and wife if you have no kids, mom, dad, husband, wife, husband, what have you, that you walk away with the feeling that nobody's gotten screwed, that you are able to walk away in a financial position that is not detrimental to your well-being or your kids' well-being, that you're both walking away with what is fair and reasonable to you both, not just in a legal sense, but also to you both personally. What can you both do to facilitate this process? How do we make sure that what we offer the other side is reasonable based on the facts, with a mind toward the future of if this were ever to be litigated, what is a reasonable prognostication as to what the judge would order? How would the court rule on this issue, and how does that inform what you offer the other side? If you would owe somebody $100,000, for example, in this equitable distribution of your marital home, if it were sold or refinanced, although the numbers may be a little different there, if you were to owe them $100,000 and you offer them $10,000 in a divorce settlement in an uncontested case, you might be provoking a contested case. How do you make it, even if you can't pay up front, how do you make it so that way the other side feels that your offer is fair and reasonable and something that they can work with, negotiate with, or outright accept? For us, that is an uncontested divorce. It is not do whatever you want to do right now and ask for forgiveness and permission later. It is ask for permission now. An uncontested divorce, from our perspective, is we do your whole case, all of the paperwork, we do your whole case on the front end. Not take our chances with filing. The other party now has deadlines, and the parties are supposed to be on the clock for their financial disclosures. That is not an uncontested divorce. For me, for our firm, from our perspective, And we try to be as reasonable as possible, but when one of our potential clients approaches us and says they filed and now they're asking that if I would like to tell them my settlement terms, well, what sense does that really make? If there's already an active case, although there could be good reason for it, fear that the other party might move out of the jurisdiction or take your kids or dispose of an asset unfairly, I understand that. And of course, settlement at any time, if it's reasonable, is a good thing to avoid additional costs, heartache, litigation. But what good does it do to file first and the other party's on deadlines and the other party's getting letters from attorneys in the mail because that's what attorneys do for advertising, and it says you could lose your kids, you could lose your money, you could lose your house, you could lose your salary, you could pay $1 million in child support, figuratively speaking. What good does it do to file first and then approach the other party about a settlement? Couldn't you have done that without filing to ease tensions and encourage the parties to actually resolve their case? Rather than forcing litigation and deadlines and dates and court rules upon them right at the outset, that seems more threatening than it does a position of peacemaking and negotiation. Every law firm does it differently. That is not how we do it. And an uncontested divorce can be exactly that. You figure out all of the terms, everything is signed, sealed, delivered, and by the time you file, it's just a waiting game until the court has the authority to approve your final judgment. This has been another episode of the Best Florida Family Law Podcast. My name is Attorney Jonathan Jacobs of the Jacobs Law Firm. We also do business as the Jacobs Family Law Firm. Nothing here has been legal advice. This is strictly for entertainment purposes, for referential purposes, and I really hope, as a former educator and perhaps once in future teacher, I really hope that you've learned something about Florida family law from listening. Thank you so much, everyone.